Today in Grow a Garden and Roblox, it is Tuesday. It is a couple of days since our last tier list, and as such, many things have changed drastically. So I thought it was an appropriate time to make you a new list. The next list will be on Friday, and then you'll have your newest list with the newest pets on Sunday, as is tradition. If this sounds interesting to you, go ahead and hit the red subscribe button, become part of the first 300k OGs on the channel, and let's get into the video. To start off, we're going to talk about the pets that are no longer on the list. The blood owl and the ladybug slipped off the list last list, so they're no longer on this list. And we have new pets that will no longer be on this list moving forward. And those are the green bean, the apple gazelle, the peach wasp, which did take a big tumble, and then some of the new pets like the imp, the pixie, or the sprite, that one's called, as well as the spriggan has dropped below my level of value to make it worthwhile having them on this list. Does this mean you cannot trade these in public servers? No. Does this mean any pet not on this list is untradeable in public servers? No. What this means is every pet below E tier or at E tier and is not on this list are basically bulk pets, and in terms of real world value, they're all worth roughly the same, which isn't a whole lot. So if you have something like what's not on this list, the golden goose, and you can trade your golden goose for something on this list, you are moving up the value list. Now, if your goal is to have fun, ignore all that. But if your goal is to move up this list to acquire huge pets, raccoons, meta huges, things like that, like if you care about value and moving up the value list, then pay attention to this list and try to acquire things that are on it with things that are not on it, especially when you're starting out. The dragonfly has gone up in value and not insignificantly. It was like a 6 or 7% jump. The dragonfly is now like super close to the mimic. It's really crazy. I think because we no longer have the Nihon bug abusing infinite egg openings, that the dragonfly is climbing back up. The demand for it is starting to outstrip the supply, and that's why the price is going up. It's good to see. I like it when things go up because everything has been going down for so much lately. The Dillo, however, is still a D tier pet threatening to fall off this list, but it is still worth slightly more than all the other bulk pets. It's basically a bulk pet, but it gets special mention because it is slightly above my minimum threshold of value for why I keep it on this list. The Pack Bee is much higher up the D tier. I think because it is so rare. On the flip side, it doesn't have a lot of demand. And I've mentioned this in previous videos about supply and demand. And sometimes when the supply is low and the demand is low, the pet just kind of stays wherever it is. And that's where it is right now. People aren't trading for the pets, but a whole bunch of new ones aren't coming into the market either. So it's just stagnant with low demand. Unlike the mimic octopus, which is in high demand. And it's still like a top 10 pet in this game. The mimic octopus has been going up in value very slowly ever since the paradise egg has rotated out of the shop. It is a Swiss Army knife. It is equal, almost dead equal to the dragonfly and almost dead equal to another pet, but we'll get there. The mimic octopus is a great pet to have. These next three pets are all useful to have D tier pets: the bald eagle, the koi, and the blood kiwi. The last two are great for opening eggs. The kiwi is great for getting more eggs back. All three of them also have a limited supply. That's what's happening here. Some of the other pets, let me give you an example. The seal. The seal doesn't have a limited supply, and neither does the brontosaurus, for example. Now, you may be saying to me, Crow, what do you mean? People have no more eggs. You can't acquire more dino eggs. Yeah, well, people still have dino eggs. And then they use koi and they use seal to stretch out the amount of dino eggs we have. But the bald eagle never came from an egg. It came from a shop. And as such, you can't egg hatch it anymore. Blood kiwi, no one's hatching those eggs anymore. And the koi, same thing as the bald eagle, came from a shop. You can no longer hatch them from eggs. So there's no way to increase the supply of koi, and there's no way to increase the supply of bald eagles. As such, their supply is staying the same, but the demand for them, for their useful effects for hatching eggs, continues to slowly rise. So they're staying on this list. The hot dog, again, solid pet. Don't know why I never thought about it. Don't know why I never considered it. Don't know why I never looked at its value, but people value the hot dog. I don't know why, but they do. Hamster, I talk about this every time we talk about the hamster. I do not know why the value is here. No matter how many websites I look at, I can't find a website that offers it for less value than this. So if you have one and people want it, which is rare because they're hard to trade, because who wants a hamster? Understand that it has some actual value in real life. However, if you have one, and someone offers you anything below this list you find useful, like if someone offers you some koi or whatever, like or even dragonfly or even less, just take it because they're hard to trade. Ascended pets continue to drift down in value. It is still roughly worth a fennec fox to those who look for ascended pets. But like I've mentioned every other video before this regarding the ascended pet, they're hard to move, they're hard to trade. People only really need one ascended pet to do the job. And then once the pet's done that job, they don't need it again. They can trade it away. So the demand for the ascended pet is low, but the supply is also low because they're rare to create. Lobsters are threatening to fall off this list, but they still have not fallen off this list. It's just clinging on because of its great effect, clinging on to that value cliff about to drop below my threshold. It's only there because of its great effect. There is so much supply. There is so much supply. The same thing with the Raiju. It's only barely clinging to this. This one is less about the demand. I mean, Lobster has a fair amount of demand because it has a great effect. The Raiju has a questionable effect, but it also has much less supply than the Lobster. So that's why it's still maintaining its value here. The Butterfly has not gone up or down in value. It is still rock solid. It is still, if you're going to trade 3 dragonflies for a butterfly, that's a slight overpay. Like not even a bulk pet equivalent of overpay, but still slight. It's slight. I mean, I would still do it. If I had a butterfly and I needed dragonflies, I would take 3. You know what I mean? I would even bat an eyelash. Or if I had 3 dragonflies, I'd trade them for a butterfly. Not even bat an eyelash. Butterflies are rock solid bet. Common huges, on the other hand, not rock solid. You know you have a common huge if nobody wants your huge. Go ahead and take a look online. They're just not that great. The cheapest I can find common huges like bunnies and dogs and stuff, they're around a butterfly in value, but they don't move and they're hard to trade. So don't look at the common huge market as a market to get into to advance in trade values. They're really, really hard to move. Stick with things like butterflies and spinosauruses and dragonflies and things like that. Hard market to get into is the huge market. Queen bee has gone up in value. Shocking. I don't know why, but it has gone up in value. It is at the top of the D tier. How close is it to getting into the C tier? It's still got about 20% more to go. Like if it can climb over 20%, it would get into the C tier with the dragonflies and stuff. But there is a gap. But I'm shocked to see it go up. That makes me happy. Again, that's when I started playing the game, right around the bee map. And I like the queen bee. It's got a soft spot for me. So hopefully she keeps climbing. She's cool. Age 75 pets are still relatively worthless. However, if you can find somebody in the public server that needs one, always good to have a few in your back pocket because they will trade you decent stuff when they want to max out their slots and such. Panda, one of those hard to move pets. It has some collecting value, but you need to find a collector. Collectors are hard to find. So while it has not dropped in value, it also has not raised in value. Another perfect example of its low supply and its low demand, keeping the price right where it is. And it is what it is for now. The Fennec Fox also has maintained its value right around the worth of an ascended pet. Another beautiful effect, another great pet, rare, it's awesome, it's fine. I don't know how many people want it. From my experience, they don't. It's fine. Blood hedgehogs still sit at the top of D tier because they have a great effect. I've mentioned before, when you want to use them, you need all 8 because they stack and they're awesome. But then when you're done with them, you can trade them away when you no longer need to make your humongous Dinoshroom or humongous Princess Thorn or whatever it is you're making, right? Disco Bee still sits in the A tier. It still sits relatively close to the raccoon, who we'll talk about very shortly. But the Disco Bee has not gone up or down in value. It is 2 butterflies for a Disco Bee, 6 dragonflies for a Disco Bee, a Fennec Fox and something else for a Disco Bee. It's in that range. It's still very viable and very useful. Now we get to have some fun. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, men and women of all ages, I get to report for the first time in a long time that the 2 divine dinosaurs have gone up, and not gone up a little bit, have gone up a significant amount. I even wrote down the amounts here because I was so shocked to see the amounts. The Spinosaurus has gone up 25%, and the T-Rex has gone up 21%. It's fantastic. The Spinosaurus is actually getting close to the Dragonfly. There is a bulk pet difference between the Spinosaurus and the butterfly. So if someone's like, yo, I have a butterfly, give me your Spinosaurus and offer me anything in the D tier or anything in the E tier, I would do it. A butterfly, you could get a Spino plus a D tier or an E tier pet or below, and that's a fair trade. That's how much the Spino has climbed. Is it because we're no longer getting infinite eggs? I don't know. Is it because people are finally running out of primal eggs with their seals and their kois, stretching out how many primal eggs they have? Are people finally running out? Is the demand finally outstripping the supply? I don't know. It's up, and it's wonderful to see. The dinosaurs are just such cool pets, you know what I mean? And even more awesome, the T-Rex is now accurately and fairly worth a dragonfly, and a mimic. That last climb put it up there, and the three of them are equal once again. It feels like the universe is in balance when those three are equal, because that has been the case multiple times throughout history. And I love the T-Rex. He's my boy. I still love my huge ascended T-Rex. He's one of my special pets. He's fantastic. It's just, I love seeing the T-Rex go up in value. It's awesome. Okay, here we go. Here we go again for the 100th time. I checked multiple websites. All of them. I looked at more than a dozen websites for this stupid pet because it's so low in supply. And yet some people message me and they're like, Kro, I have 8 of them. And then other people are like, I've never seen it in the shop. It's so confusing, but nobody wants them. Nobody wants to trade for them. But there's so few of them, people aren't undercutting each other online. So it's still here. It's still here. These two pets, I don't get. I mentioned before, I'll mention it again. If you skip to the end of the video, you don't know what's going on here. These two pets, I do not believe are worth this. Nobody wants them for their effects. The only reason these two pets are here is rarity, and that's it. So in all honesty, I ranked them down here. In all honesty, I put them in the D tier, but it's not my bias. It is my job to report values for you, so you guys make the best decisions. You're not going to be able to take your gnome and offer it for a T-Rex. The T-Rex player is going to laugh at you. However, if someone does want your gnome, you at least know roughly what it's worth. I would take anything in C tier for a gnome or a panda. I would take anything in C tier. I might even take useful things out of D tier. I personally would take a queen bee for the gnome. I don't want the gnome. I could use a queen bee though. I don't want the gnome. I could use a nice, better, heavier koi. If someone offered me a bald eagle and it was nice and big, I might take that. You know what I mean? But that's just me. The raccoon has fallen a little bit, but nothing crazy. Still an S tier pet. Right now, taking a look at the raccoon versus everything else. The raccoon is no longer worth exactly 3 butterflies. It is worth less than 3 butterflies. It is worth roughly, actually with the dragonfly buff, it is definitely worth about 8 dragonflies, no longer 9 dragonflies. The raccoon took a little bit of a hit. Nothing crazy, but just a slight bit. The kitsune has dropped ever so slightly, but nothing crazy to report. It is worth 8. It is worth 2 raccoons plus what? 2 raccoons plus what? It's about that much of a difference. 2 raccoons and a Spinosaurus. We'll do it fairly. 2 raccoons and a Spino. 2 raccoons and a couple of dragonflies. 2 raccoons and a butterfly is a slight overpay. That's kind of where things are between the raccoon, the Spinosaurus, the kitsune, and everything else. Meta huges, super short this time. If you have a huge and you don't know its value, go online and figure it out. Go on the Discord servers and figure it out. I don't have any help here for you. I know meta huges are worth multiple kitsunes, right? For example, a 15-second peacock I know is worth like 6 or 7 kitsunes. Like I know that. But for the most part, if you have a really good a huge divine pet, the great effect, just do your own research. That's such a huge, crazy, involved market. It changes so much and it's so drastic and so hard to do that if you don't do your own research, you're just going to get burned. So take the time, go into trading discords, look online on websites, and find how much your huge pet is worth before you do any trades. Now, most of the brand new pets have fallen off this list. They're bulked here. As you can see, you've got the imp down here. It's half a bulk pet. You've got the sprite down here. It's half a bulk pet. Now, these two pets, the glimmering sprite was up here in this B tier before. It's holding on for dear life at the bottom of D tier. It's by the time this next video, I always do one more video before the Saturday update. So the Friday trading tier list, it's going to be off the list. It's going to be an E tier pet. It's fallen off. What we've realized is because the event gives you glimmering mutations even while you're offline, I will reference that and repeat that. So you go to sleep at night, you wake up in the morning, you log in and all your plants, are glimmering. This pet has lost its value. It's no longer necessary. It's going to be off this list very, very soon. And the cockatrice. Do you remember I had it up here? No, this raccoon is not with the kitsune. There's too big of a gap there. It's literally 2 raccoons with kitsune. They can't be in the same tier. Remember when this cockatrice was up here? And I warned you Sunday morning, like I always do, that this is going to drop like a rock, as they all do. It's dropped like a rock. It is now down at the dragonfly level. Trading a cockatrice for a mimic, a dragonfly, or a T-Rex is currently a good deal. By the time Friday rolls around, it's not going to be a good deal, especially considering we're only in week 1 of the usual 2-week rotation of these events. We're probably going to see the cockatrice. It's going to fall off the map. I don't see any of its effects. Its effects are all mid. It doesn't give as much experience as a Dilophosaurus. It doesn't have as much cooldown as other pets. Each of its effects are useful, but they're worse than the actual pets that do that job. It is a jack of all trades, master of none. As such, I think it's going to fall off this list. I think it's going the way of the Golden Goose. I think it's going the way of all those. I hatched one on the first day. I didn't even bother trade it. I was just too lazy. I'm like, I should probably trade this now. And I didn't. That's fine. I don't really care. It's going to be right now, currently a C tier. Go trade them. Trade them for mimics. Trade them for dragonflies. Trade them for T-Rexes. Trade them for a queen bee. Trade them for anything useful because it's going to go down. And this is my tier list. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Lots of good news about certain pets. If you didn't hear me talk about the Spinosaurus or the T-Rex news, check that out. If you didn't hear me talk about the dragonfly or the mimic news, check it out. If you didn't hear me talk about all of the admin of pets and how they're basically useless, check that out. Oh, if you didn't hear me talk about what happened to the raccoon, yeah, check that out too. As always, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and hit subscribe. Become part of the first 300K OGs on the channel. And as always, guys, thank you very much for watching.